dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I'm so friggin' excited. I'm going to be interviewing not only a childhood crush of mine, but also I think one of the most underrated actresses that came from cult 80s movies. And I'm talking about Maureen Teefy. Oh, bup, 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 bup. I just love Maureen Teefy. I think she gets short shrift because she was in like what is considered to be two of the worst mainstream movies of the 80s, Grease 2 and Supergirl, which I think they're awesome, so I don't care what the fuck they say. I love those movies and her performances in them, and I'm so friggin' excited I get to talk to her. I've been hoping for the last year and a half to talk to her, and I'm glad it took a while to wait because now I can talk to her longer than I did a year ago and stuff, and everything is going to be pretty cool. So yeah, here's my interview with Maureen Teefy. You all know her as Lucy Lane in Supergirl. That's why I love her in that movie. And here's my interview with Maureen Teefy.
Hi.
Hi, Maureen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Tommy?
Oh, I am just ecstatic, I'll tell you. Welcome to the show. This is just so amazing for me. I had a huge crush on you growing up, and I think you're so underrated as an actress.
You had, well, thank you. You had said that Supergirl was a huge influence. I was like, okay, you'll have to tell me about that.
Oh, yes. I'll be telling you about it in a little bit, but I'd like to go all the way back to the beginning. When did you know that you wanted to be an actress?
Oh, I was pretty young. I would say, um, I probably knew I wanted to perform. Like, I'm like one of 8 girls,
Right.
and so we could have tap classes or piano, and I started tap dancing at 4. So I think that, the recitals in my childhood of, tap dancing recitals were sort of like a highlight.
Yeah.
And then when I was in like 12 is when I actually really got into acting. I started, um, I'm from Minneapolis, and there's a children's theater there. It's actually probably the most famous children's theater in the world.
Right.
And the Minneapolis Children's Theater. And when I was 12, I heard on the radio that they were having auditions for Mother Goose. So my mother drove me down there and dropped me off. I was at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts, and I went in and auditioned. It took me 2 years to get in because it was just like 100 kids auditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started a theater program where I only had to go to, when I was in 11th grade, I only went to regular school in the morning for required classes, and then I was in theater school in the afternoon. So I would say I was pretty committed as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew then, yeah.
Wow, Minnesota. Yeah, some of my favorite actresses are from Minnesota. Jessica Lange, Leah Thompson, Kelly Maroney. So many great actresses came from Minnesota.
Yeah, and Leah, I didn't know Leah. I was there before her, but she was at the Children's Theater. She was a lead in something. I forget what it was, but she was a dancer to start. But and she was also from the Children's Theater. Yeah, It was a great place to get training. I mean, later, John, who started it, John Donahue, was indicted for sexual assault of young boys.
Oh.
And so he lost the theater, and his name's kind of taken off of it. But he started it. He started it, built it, and then then they got this new building. Yeah, we used to tour. We toured in Canada and in the United States. We toured as a teenager. I went on tour with them. So I really hardly went to school, regular school. How I even graduated, I don't know. And Juilliard School of Drama for 2 years. So yeah, I was pretty focused.
Wow. Yeah, I barely went to middle school, so I know how that is.
You what?
I barely went to middle school, and I don't know how I graduated.
Yeah, are you an actor?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you from?
San Mateo, California, which is in San Francisco, small town suburbs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. But that's so unfortunate about the child molestation. That's really, really sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we were young. I mean, I literally was like 12, 13,
Mm-hmm.
and we would go, and we were the first students. I mean, now it's a very famous school,
Mm-hmm.
but I was one of the very first students there. So it was all very, um, I mean, and certainly it was wonderful because there were no rules, and I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
And, but, yeah, I mean, honestly, it was sort of accepted. I mean, I think the adults knew, but, John was, brilliant and charismatic, and he had all the power.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh my God.
In fact, it's funny because just a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
when I was 17, I was in this play, Jerusalem, and John wrote it, and it was about the Crusades. And the children's crusades, in the Middle Ages. And
Yeah.
there was like 100 kids on stage, and live animals and everything, and we were covered in dirt. And you know who D.A. Pennybaker is?
Yeah. The documentary guy?
He's a famous documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
Okay, he came and was making a documentary about the Children's Theater then.
Mm-hmm.
And he was filming Jerusalem and stuff like that, and I never knew what happened to that documentary or heard of it, and I was always curious, like, why did I never hear about the documentary or anything about it? And so I was watching the new Bobby Kennedy documentary on Netflix, and D.A. Pennybaker was in it at that time this was earlier, making a documentary of Bobby Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And so I just decided to Google D.A. Pennybaker, Children's Theater, John Donahue, and I actually found it in 4 parts. It was called John Donahue and the CTC, and it had 4 parts on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Like 4 different sections, 15 minutes each. So it was like, it was a trip because there was everybody. Mm-hmm. And then I did find myself in it, which was hard because I was like covered in mud and rags, and there was just a ton of us, the part that I was in, and but it was like I did find myself for a flash in a couple different parts, but I saw all my friends, my teachers, everything at that time. It was really kind of awesome to go, oh my God,
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
I know. It's so crazy because honestly, I've wondered all these years what happened to that. So I guess I'm not sure why it's just in 4 different 15-minute segments. Mm-hmm. But,
Yeah.
it was cool for me because it was like really seeing yourself as a teenager.
Yeah.
And like in that setting, and then seeing all the people there. It was, definitely interesting. But yeah, it was I would say that as an artist, as an actress, that formed me. Mm-hmm. I would say that my experience growing up there, because we were doing adult plays too. It wasn't just, in a certain way, the children, they probably did children's theater as a way to start a theater, but there were also adult plays being done. It was very, very visually sophisticated, very, like,
Yeah.
himself and others' genes.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
It's so.
that's that. Yeah. So yeah, I was a teenager when I kind of, was like, oh yeah, I want to do this.
Nice. And you went to Juilliard. Were you there the same time as Christopher Reeve and Robin Williams?
Not Christopher. I met Christopher later after I did Supergirl on the streets of New York. But Robin was um, in the class 2 years ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did know Robin. I was the property mistress on a play that he was in called Six Characters in Search of an Author. But Robin also left. I only stayed 2 years. Robin left after that year. So he was only there 1 year when I was there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, people ask me all the time if I knew him because I do stand up comedy in the Bay Area and stuff, and I never got to meet him, unfortunately. But a couple of years ago, I was in a car accident and I spent 30 days in a coma, and
Oh my God.
yeah, it was pretty bad. And my mom told me that when I woke up and I was under anesthesia, like I said that I went to comedy heaven and I was hanging out with him and Lucille Ball.
Oh really?
Yeah.
But you don't remember any of it.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that, but like I just remember laying there in the coma and thinking, why am I not waking up? You know.
Oh, so you do remember that?
I remember that, but I don't remember being in comedy heaven.
That's so interesting that you were with Robin and Lucia. Well, Robin, I mean, it's interesting because Robin was like a serious actor
Yeah.
at Juilliard. I mean, he was very, he was very, and we had parties, so I was, I did know Robin. Um, and then later I saw him. He came to the set of 1941,
Mhm.
which I basically had been waitressing and the movie was already shooting, but Spielberg cast me, and so I think I ended up one close up. I've never really seen the movie, but Robin did come at that time. He was doing Mork and Mindy, so he came to the set, and I saw him. But then I didn't see him after that,
Mhm.
And I really felt bad about the way his life ended.
Yeah.
I was really I felt like that is such a drag.
Yeah, we went to go see my mom and I on Christmas Day, a month before my accident. We went to go see A Night at the Museum 3, his last movie, and we just cried like when he said goodbye at the end. It was just really devastating.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, yeah, I didn't realize. I don't know. It just shows you don't really know what's going on with people inside. It can look one way on the outside, but you never really know what's going on inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. But I forgot. Anyway.
When when did you when did you move to Los Angeles?
Oh, I came out here in '80s. Well, it was the summer of '85. I was pregnant. I have a daughter, Isabella, and we drove across the country, and and then she was born here, and it was kind of like I actually came because my husband at the time, Alexander Cassini, he was going to AFI.
Mhm.
So that's when I came. But I actually had been here before. This is the crazy thing. After I was at Juilliard, I got cast in Spain here.
Yeah.
But after, I'm the only one that came from here. But after, at the end of my second year of Juilliard, school said to me, Maureen, we think school is inhibiting you creatively and you should just go out and work. So the next thing I knew, I had a friend out here that I knew from Boston Conservatory, and I didn't come out here to work or anything.
Yeah.
I just was coming to visit him, and he was living in Carpinteria, so I took a bus out here from New York,
Mhm.
and ended up in Carpinteria, I was very much like, basically I wanted to go get really good training and then go back to Minneapolis and sort of I wanted to be like the lead actress in the children's theater because there was a woman named Wendy Lair who was the lead actress and had started the theater, and she was our teacher, and she got to do all the roles. So I kind of wanted to be Wendy, but, everything took a different turn. So I ended up here, and that's kind of how and then people were like, oh, you should, and I got in a play, and people said, you should get an agent, and, so that's how I ended up actually even doing any movies.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, 1941 was one of your first roles. You played the USO girl in it. It was a huge production. What was it like?
Well, for me, it was amazing because I had been waitressing,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to make ends meet. So, and I had done the audition, like they had put it on video. The casting director, we had to come in and, they said, wear something 1940-ish. And when I went in, I had this, like, black 1940s vintage stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I went in, I remember I did an improv, and I pretended I was French, which I don't even speak French, so I don't know how I had a French accent. I pretended I was French, and I was with two guys, and we just improv something, and she shot it. Mm-hmm. And then, it was really like 3-4 months later that I got a call that Spielberg had seen the video and wanted to create a role for me in the movie, which was already half in shooting. And I was going to work for 1 week. Mm-hmm. And I was going to make, like scale, but that was like a lot compared to waitressing. Yeah. And that 1 week turned into like almost a month. Mm-hmm. And, then on the first day, Spielberg said, oh, you're the girl in the video. Can you do an Irish accent? I said, sure. And then, we did have more of a role that was shot, but it didn't end up in the film. But it was great because it was a huge movie, of course, and I was making, money, and it was very exciting. Mm-hmm. I met Treat Williams then and John Belushi. Yep. And I met a lot of people on that shoot.
Did you meet Walter Olkowitz?
No, who's that?
He's the heavy set soldier guy. He's with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd and Treat Williams.
No.
Oh, okay, because I interviewed him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. I mean, I don't even know how I got to know Treat. I didn't really even have any. I mean, I actually ended up going out with him, but I don't remember having any. And that's when I met Belushi. Mm-hmm. When I went out with Treat, he had just, yeah. It was funny. Treat had just learned to fly. Then this was late. No, I think I did go out with him during 1941, and then I saw him later too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I didn't. I don't know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Spielberg movies, and John Belushi's always been a hero of mine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then you. What's that?
I just said, well.
Yeah. Then you got to be part of a crazy all-star comedy called Scavenger Hunt.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy movie. Yeah, and I got cast in that right after 1941. Mm-hmm. And that was shot mostly in San Diego and some at the Huntington Gardens in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. But actually, the fun part of that, do you know who Robert Morley is?
Yep.
Okay, so one day he just asked me, do you want to go to the races? Santa Anita racetrack on the weekend. And I was like, okay. I mean, he was that kind of, from that era where people just, he asked me, so I remember I didn't have anything nice to wear, so I had to go out and buy a dress.
Uh-huh.
And then he came and picked me up in a limousine, and we went to the Santa Anita racetrack, and that was really fun. And then we went to Avita. It was I think previews downtown at like the Ahmanson, I think. And Patti LuPone was in it, and Patti LuPone had been in 1941, so I did meet her there. And can you hear me? Someone's calling me. I just sent a message. So.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so Patti LuPone had been in 1941, and I had met her, and we kind of just talked a bit. I didn't really get to know her that well, but she had been at Juilliard, too. When I was at Juilliard, she was in the acting company with Kevin Kline, and I think Meryl Streep, all these people. Meryl Streep, I don't think, was in the acting company because she had been at Yale, but they were definitely in plays together on Broadway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, yeah, so we went and saw Patti LuPone in Avita, and Robert Morley made some kind of comment, like, because at that time, Patty's voice was, I think she had to train a lot to be able to really, I don't know, Robert made some kind of comment, like, that's rather something or other, like she wasn't really up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was previews, but that was kind of a fun thing, thinking of him, and going to dinner, and going to the racetrack, and going to Avita.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, the movie has this kind of, quality of, like, it's a mad, 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 mad world type of thing.
Yes, but it doesn't quite, I don't know, I don't think the movie quite, well, I'd have to see it again. I haven't seen it in a super long time.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to see it again. I mean, well, you said you were at the Grease 2 screening, right?
No, I actually missed the Grease 2 screening.
Oh, that was so cool because this is so weird. I honestly have I'd never seen Grease 2 on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not seen the whole thing for 30-some years.
Right.
Because I was out of the country when it got released. I was on my honeymoon, and we were, like, traveling all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen it in the screening room in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So I never saw it on the big screen. That was super cool. So it'd be fun to see. It was really fun to watch it with, people that loved it, like fans.
Yeah.
And then there was so much joy. And then also it was so retro. It was like even 35 millimeter. And of course it was, it was in the 80s it got released, but it was, set in 1961. So it was like retro on top of retro.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. It was so cool to see it. So I was going to say that it would be cool to see. It'd be fun to see Scavenger Hunt that way, because I haven't, although I think it came out on Blu-ray, somebody told me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Arnold.
I mean, that movie was full of stars. I was really the only person who wasn't unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody else was like a name.
Yeah, I mean, you got Arnold, Richard Benjamin, Scatman Crothers, Cloris Leachman, Ruth Gordon, Richard Mulligan, Stephen Furst. I mean, huge names. Cleavon Little, yep. And
Willie Ames had been a star, and just one of the favorite TV stars.
Yep, 8 is enough. And
yeah.
And Michael Schultz directed. People forget about Michael Schultz. He was like the first successful black director.
He was, wasn't he? He did Car Wash, right?
Yep, he did Car Wash. He did a lot of Richard Pryor movies. Greased Lightning, Which Way Is Up, Crushed Groove. Yeah. He was huge. And then, of course, you did the classic musical Fame, and that's a great movie. How did you get to play Doris?
Well, I was out here, and that was right after Scavenger Hunter. During it, I mean, it was like Bing Bang Boom, those three movies in a row. And I think what happened was my agent at the time was allowed to send in 4 kids, four actors for it. And Alan was out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in. I had no idea even what I was going in for. I knew they said it was Alan Parker. I didn't even see a casting person. I literally went in, I met Alan. I didn't read anything. He filmed me.
Mm-hmm.
He just asked me questions and filmed me. And then he did say to me, I remember he said to me, yeah, and I mean, even what I wore in that film, I think I wore to the audition. Like I was kind of always into vintage clothes.
Yeah.
And I had like a beret on, and went in, and he told me I had a vulnerability. I do remember him saying that to me at the meeting. And then I just left, and honestly, I didn't hear I didn't hear anything for like, it might have been a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then my agent called and said that Alan Parker wanted to have dinner with me, with his cinematographer. So basically, we met at a Italian restaurant on Melrose. I was living in West Hollywood at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked there, and we had dinner, and Michael Sarrazin, who's like, it's funny because my friend just edited Planet of the Apes, and Michael's done the Planet of the Apes, the cinematographer, the last 2 anyways. And I guess Alan wanted to have his cinematographer meet me. And we just talked, nothing, I still didn't know what I was going, I honestly didn't know what, I wasn't asked to read or act or do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, then I got a call that I had been cast. And, and it's funny, too, because actually that part was supposed to be like a Barbra Streisand part, like of a Jewish girl from Brooklyn who, can sing. Well, he had never asked me to sing.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the first day of filming was laying down the song the way we were. So they sent me to like a coach just to go over it. We went, and I mean, this is a really, I think, just goes to show you, just life is crazy. You just don't know. But I was singing the way we were at the recording studio on Broadway, and then Alan came and said. Yeah, and I'm an actress who can, like, I can put across a song, but I would never consider myself a singer.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've, been in musicals and I've taken voice lessons and stuff, I still feel like I'm not really a singer.
Yeah.
I can sell a song, and I can act it. So Alan said, Maureen, she never gets to the school singing like that, just talk it. So that's how that whole audition sequence turned out the way it did. Because of the fact that I couldn't really sing the way we were. And that kind of formed the character. I mean, she was shy, but it was just interesting because Alan, in a certain way, I guess he just saw something in me at that time. I think it was the vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted that in the film and wanted that for the role. So it really wasn't about my acting. It was about something he saw in me that he wanted for that role. And then he got it. He knew what he wanted, and then he just directed it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alan Parker was just coming off of Midnight Express, a really dark thriller, and then next thing you know, he makes this musical, which shows you his diversity, because then he did Pink Floyd's The Wall after this, and it was amazing. What was Irene? What was Irene Cara like?
Well, I didn't have a lot of scenes with Irene,
Mm-hmm.
but whenever I met her or saw her in passing, because it's funny, people think when you're in a movie that you know everybody, but honestly, you don't um, have, kind of, if you don't work with them, you may not get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
So Irene was somebody that, I met and saw, but I didn't know her,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Yeah, she's a very talented lady. I think she should make it. She should definitely make a comeback because she is a talented lady.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, her music was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Flashdance and all that.
Her singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I haven't seen Irene, since that time even, but yeah. But I think she's super talented.
Yeah. And then you did my favorite after-school special, Portrait of a Teenage Shoplifter.
And I did that with Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Laura Jean, who was insane.
Yeah. That's a funny coincidence.
She was like my friend in that. And yeah, by then I had moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, was offered the series of fame, but I just didn't want to play the same role.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I just felt like, I guess characters have a life of their own to me, and I felt like yours was, for me, completed.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been kind of I guess I've been a little bit of, I don't want to say, I don't know, I always looked at acting as an art, not a business.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? Which is hard to meld the two sometimes. But at any rate, yeah, I went to New York, but I actually went to New York because I really wanted to do, theater there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also, I had to work, make money, so I did that, yep.
Well, you did a great job in the role, and you look so delicately beautiful in it.
Oh, thank you. I don't have a copy of that either. I don't even know where I'd find that.
I think it might be out there somewhere. And then,
I'm sure it is. Everything's out there somewhere.
yeah, everything now with internet streaming and all. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then you got to play a much bigger part in a musical with Grease 2, which we brought up. My mother loves the Grease movies. In fact, she's been wanting to be Mrs. John Travolta for 40 plus years now.
Well,
What was it like working with Michelle Pfeiffer? This is before she was famous.
Michelle was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of us, all the pink ladies enjoy each other.
Yeah, Pamela Adlon, I love her.
Oh, I love Pamela. I saw her I saw her like a decade ago. She's so cute. And when I saw the movie again, I was like, oh my God, she was so good.
Yeah.
She was so good in the movie.
Yeah, she's got that voice, and she really knows how to make a wisecrack, I'll tell you.
Oh my God, she's amazing. Yeah, she was really cute. And she was darling because she was, looked up to all the pink ladies and stuff. So.
Yeah. And Ken Finkelman, he wrote the script the same year. He also wrote and directed Airplane 2, and he kind of got really bad criticism for writing and directing two sequels. For two hugely successful Paramount movies. Which is sad.
Oh, did he get flack for that?
Oh yeah, he got flack for Grease 2 and for Airplane 2 that same year.
It's funny how things work. Well, Grease 2 was not successful when it came out.
No.
But it is
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like...
It's one of those movies that has gotten more successful, which is strange to me because I think that if I look at like musicals and like a movie like Grease 2 or a movie like Fame, I mean, I think Fame really kind of set a precedent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Fame was kind of groundbreaking, and I feel like all these, like a lot of the things like American Idol, so you think all these, I think a lot of stuff came from the original Fame.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually stands up as like a really good movie. I mean, Grease 2, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is really funny and cute and silly and just silly, and belongs to definitely a time unto itself. But Grease 2, a lot of people, you know, still really like that movie and say, oh, I remember, you know what I mean? It's like a cult movie.
Mm-hmm. Cult movie. And speaking of cult movies, Supergirl comes into play, and this is where I fell in love with you. And this movie, like I said, has had a huge impact on me since I was 3 years old, and I'll tell you why, because you've been waiting.
I have.
My parents got me a retail store VHS copy of it when I was about 2 or 3 years old, and we let the neighbors borrow it, and we never got it back. So then we taped it off of HBO, and I used to watch that tape over and over again, all the way till I started kindergarten, and then every once in a while I would watch it. But what impacted me was that beautiful score that Jerry Goldsmith wrote when Supergirl and Ethan are on the beach, you know. That scene is just so sweet and so beautiful. At a young age, I thought that's what romantic love was. And as I look back on those times now, you know, I'm struck about how I was only 3 or 4, and, you know, I'm watching the movie, and I'm not having to go to school yet or deal with kids and not getting bullied. I got bullied throughout my school years, and it just makes me think about how it was such a simpler time, and, you know, my innocence was intact, you know.
Yes.
And
Okay, that makes total sense.
yeah, so that's why the movie has impacted me. And, you know, that tape wore out around 1993, and I was so devastated. But then I owned several copies, including recently I bought a international version of it with all the scenes that were cut and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So how did you...
What was that? What's the international version like?
It's pretty good. I mean, there's that scene where you two are playing field hockey, and Myra trips you, and then like Linda, she like blocks the ball from like hitting you with her shoulder blade.
Yeah, that did not end up in the movie.
No, it's in this version though.
Wow. Where did you get an international version?
I got it off of eBay. It got released about 15 years ago on Anchor Bay Entertainment, so it's been out there for a while.
That's pretty cool. How long is it?
I want to say at least I want to say at least 2 hours and 5 minutes at least. I could be wrong. I have to go look at it, but I think it's about 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Okay, and how much longer is that than the original one they released?
I think the original was 1 hour and 45 minutes, 48 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But how did you get to play Lucy Lane?
I auditioned. I mean, I was living in New York, but I came out here to. My agent had wanted me to come out here and go up on things here.
Yeah.
For a bit, so I came out and I auditioned for it and met Jono.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
then they cast me. that was like a straight up audition. And that's how that happened. I mean, I think they thought that was going to be that might be another cult movie. That did not that bombed when it came out.
Yeah. It was like
Even though it was a huge budget and stuff. I mean, I was in London for like 5 months.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a long production. And I went to a convention a couple of years ago, and I met Noah Hathaway from the Neverending Story, and he told me when he was shooting that movie, you guys were shooting Supergirl like right next door, and there was like a debate on whether or not to release Neverending Story the same time as Supergirl, because Supergirl was supposed to come out in the summer of '84, but then it came out Thanksgiving of '84, and he told me about how they put money into so much money into both productions, and like the release dates were uncertain.
Yes, I remember because I do remember it was like I had been interviewed by somebody in the summer for Supergirl, and then it was for some paper, and then they didn't release Supergirl until that's right, till that Thanksgiving. Who knows why things work, but I'm not sure why. I'd have to see Supergirl again. That would be a fun thing to see in the movie theater also, because I could see it. I think I saw it just in a public movie theater up in San Francisco, actually.
Oh, my hometown.
I think I was there at that time for the holidays. I was living in New York, but I think I saw it in the theater.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I can't remember. No, I think there was a screening in London that I went to too. Yeah, before it was released, we had a screening.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I think that.
Yeah, you are so sweet.
Many people feel the way about, that whatever it is in one's life that, evokes that innocence, a place of innocence, and that before life has its way with you, things that represent that time definitely hold a special place.
Yeah. And you are so sweet and lovable as Lucy. I mean, it really melts my heart when I watch your performance even now. And you were great. You had great chemistry with Helen Slater. And the funny part is, you two were like 10 years apart in age.
I know. Oh, I was always playing younger than myself.
Yeah.
Younger than I actually was. I mean, that was the last time I really didn't want to play a teenager anymore.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I don't want to. I just felt that I had, life experience, and I was like kind of having to. I mean, granted, it got me work.
Yeah.
It was something at that time that I felt, I don't know, like I was hiding a lot of experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Helen, she looks so beautiful with both blonde hair and dark hair, and her performance is just so lovely. And it's no wonder she ended up doing a lot of comedies, because she's very funny in this movie.
She is, and Helen also, they gave her a lot of crap.
Mhm.
About, like her hair, her body, they just put her through a lot of stuff to be Supergirl. I remember. But she had gone to the High School of Performing Arts.
Yeah.
I think, and was like maybe just had graduated when she was cast in Supergirl.
Mhm.
Which was kind of at 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, she was like fresh out of high school when she did it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fresh out of the High School of Performing Arts in New York.
Mhm.
Which is where Fame took place, the movie.
Yep. There's so many great scenes in the movie. I love when Linda uses her eye lasers to burn Myra and Muffy in the
Oh
shower.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, you never looked better. Love that. I actually reached out to Robin Mandel, who plays Myra, and I never heard back from her. And then I reached out to the girl who's the cashier at Popeyes when Linda runs into her while she's going to the bathroom. Sorry, I'm in a rush. And she says, I know the feeling. Yeah, I tried to reach out to her too. I didn't hear back from her either. She's actually runs a very successful business, and there's videos of it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. What kind of business?
I want to say, I want to say real estate, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look at it again. It's been several months since I saw it.
That's okay.
But yeah, it took like 22 days to shoot the bulldozer scene.
Oh my God, that went on forever.
Yeah, were you scared?
Not really. I wasn't scared. There was a guy hiding behind my seat.
Mm-hmm.
He must have been obviously a crew member.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't scared. Maybe I should have been, but I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid getting into trouble because I quoted your line, "Look at that dingleberry."
Well, who'd you get into trouble with?
One of my parents.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I would definitely need. I haven't seen that film either.
Mm-hmm.
Is the copy you have on Blu-ray?
No, it's on VHS. I'm a nerd. I collect VHS still.
That's awesome. Well, you have a VHS machine. You're one of the few people who do. Although I heard they're coming back
Yeah.
as kind of vintage worthy.
Yeah, like vinyl.
Yeah, exactly. Like having a vinyl record player and stuff. It's like, yeah, I know. There probably will be worth a lot because there'll be a nostalgia for like a time when it'll be like, wow, back in the olden days.
Yeah.
Because things are moving so fast.
Yep, sure are.
Technologically and stuff, right?
Right. Crazy. What was
Mm-hmm.
what was Peter Cook like?
Oh, I liked Peter Cook. He was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he was one of the adults in the film who was pretty cool. Fun-loving.
Yeah,
Relate to young people. He was cool.
very funny guy. Yeah. And Hart Bachner.
Hart and I were friends because we were with the same. We were both with William Morris, and our agents knew each other.
Yeah.
And so I knew Hart. I had met Hart, I think at William Morris and stuff, and then we knew each other. And I don't know where, I haven't been in touch with Hart for probably, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 15 years.
Yeah,
I don't know where he is now. I think he was living in, do you know where he is?
I have no idea.
I think he gave up acting, too.
Well, I know he became a director.
Oh, he did become a director?
Yeah, I know that much, but I don't know what he's doing currently.
Right.
But his performance in the movie is great because he goes from being this kind of cocky alpha male to being this like sweet childlike man, and he's so funny when he's possessed by Selena, and I still yeah, I still cry to this day at that last shot of him watching Supergirl fly off and he says goodbye, Linda. It's so sweet. I love that moment.
Yeah, he was a sweetie. And he is very funny, actually.
Yeah. He's known for kind of playing jerks, but this is like one of the rare good guy roles he's played.
That's true. That's true.
And Brenda Vaccaro, she steals the movie. What was she like?
Well, I didn't get to know Brenda that well, but it's funny because we also had the same agent. another story. She was a trip.
Oh, yeah. I've had Rutanya Alda on the show talk about Mommy Dearest. I've heard all the stories.
Oh.
Yeah, she's pretty crazy, I've heard. Well,
Well, I don't know if she was crazy. I just know that, like, when I have the scene with her,
mm-hmm.
where I'm yelling at her, and she shot her part, but then she didn't stay for when I shot mine.
Yeah.
And so I was doing it to Jono in the camera. So, she was a big star, so I guess this needs to.
Yeah. What was Mark McClure like?
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sweetie.
he's from my hometown of San Mateo, I found out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people joke on the internet and they say that Jimmy Olsen was pretty much a statutory rapist in this movie.
Oh, Why is that?
Because Lucy's like, what, 17, 18, and he's like probably in his like late 20s or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I need to see the movie again. I really do. If you have a screening of it, you'll have to let me know.
I will do that. I live over here in Reading where there's like nothing going on, but if I find out about one, like in LA or something, and I'm trying to move down.
Where is Reading? Is that on the way to Palm Springs?
No, it's oh no, it's like on the way to Sacramento.
Oh, Reading. Is it east? So it's north, but how far from Sacramento is it?
It's only 3 hours away. I forget what direction it's in though. I don't drive, so I don't know.
So tell me about, and I have, let me just see what time it is. Okay, I have like 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Tell me how what happened that you were in a coma? Was it a car accident?
Yeah, I was coming back from San Francisco with a guy who I thought was my friend. I'd been hanging out with for a few years, and I fell asleep in the car. He fell asleep at the wheel. We were both drunk, and we ended up in the middle of the road. We got out okay. My hand was cut up pretty bad. I remember that. And then I blacked out, and then I woke up, and I woke up in the hospital 30 days later, and apparently what happened was a car collided with ours, and it hit us. Yeah.
And what happened with your friend?
He broke his arm and broke his pelvis, and he got some damage in his eye, but he's okay. But long story short, we went through some legal stuff, and everything is okay now. But yeah, I got the worst injuries because I got my hand broken. I had a mild heart attack. My sternum was crushed. I broke my leg in 7 places. I mean, I got the worst of the injuries.
And did the people in the other car, were they injured?
They got like a mild concussion or something, but nothing major.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that why you don't drive?
I've never driven because I have a little bit of ADD, and I've just always been afraid that I'm easily distracted, and so if I'm driving, I'm afraid I'm going to get easily distracted, and something bad's going to happen like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm lucky to be alive, I'll tell you, because now I'm pursuing showbiz, and I started this a year ago. I do this from out of my house and everything. I'm 137 episodes in, and I love what I'm doing.
So now, where is this podcast?
I broadcast it in my home, in my bedroom and everything. I record on my iPhone.
And then, what's the link if I wanted to listen to it? I think you sent me it, probably.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, but on YouTube, you type in my name, Tommy Kovac, and every episode will be on my channel.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I know. Isn't it amazing what you can do now?
Yeah, technology is great. one of the best things.
Well, I wish you the best with your acting and pursuing your dreams.
Yes, we're trying to move out to Los Angeles after my mom retires next spring and stuff. So fingers are crossed on that. I've been trying overall for 17 years, on and off, to move out there, but it hasn't come together. But I have a feeling that this time it will.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm a Buddhist, so I chant. Have you ever heard of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo?
No.
This sounds crazy, but Tina Turner did it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
did you ever see What's Love Got to Do with It?
Yeah, great movie.
Okay, so in the movie, somebody turns her on to chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and she gets the onsen, which is the scroll, and she chants to when she's leaving Ike.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I saw that movie, and it must have got planted in me. So then later, when I was going through like a really, well, basically, my life kind of took a detour because I was going through a really kind of tragic divorce because I was married and very much in love and had a daughter and all of this. But without going into all the details, I had to leave that marriage. And
Right.
so then I started chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which was like a decade ago. But I was going to say, the thing about chanting it, and you can look it up online, the SGI is the name of the lay organization, but you can chant for anything you want. I mean, it's a Buddhist practice, but it brings out like your infinite potential.
Right.
And so you could start chanting, you set goals.
Yeah.
And then as you chant for your goals, you also kind of have this transformation that takes place inside of you, and also in your environment. So you could chant to come to LA. And it's a fabulous practice. So I'm just planting that seed in you. And or you can watch Tina's movie again and see it. But it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate that, Maureen. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, because then that way you can chance to move to LA. That's your goal, and it's been 17 years. Maybe that's the whole reason you were. I don't ever do podcasts or interviews. I don't even know why I said yes. I was just like, you just caught. Not that I wouldn't. You just sort of like, I never go on my Facebook. That's where you reached out to me, right?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah, I didn't even go on Facebook. I actually am launching a voiceover business, so I will be using it for my voiceover business as a voiceover artist, but I rarely go on it. So, but yeah, I mean, you should try it because, make your dreams come true.
One last.
LA's great. It's a great place to live. It's pretty. I live in Venice. It's pretty. I mean, I love it. There's just so many resources here. You know what I mean? Of everything, not just show business, but just the people. It's just super interesting.
Yeah, I want to be out there so bad. I go there a couple times a year for like horror conventions and stuff because I'm a big horror fan. And I'll let you know when I come out there next, and maybe we can meet.
Yeah, definitely. Did you ever see the movie Star Time?
Star Time. I don't think so.
Well, it's kind of a horror flick, but it's the movie I made. It went to Sundance, and I think it's just been released on Blu-ray, re-released. And I'm the lead in it. My ex-husband wrote, produced, and directed it. See if you can find it and watch it. You might be able to stream it somewhere. And you might like it. I'd be curious what you think of it.
Okay, Star Time. It's called.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. One last thing.
All right.
One last thing, Maureen. Could you give me a little bit of your Chrome voice from Perversions of Science?
Oh, let me see. I just remember there's a wow. I can't. That's all I remember is the
That's okay. You did.
Sorry, I have to look at it again to do it to see what I did.
That's okay. That was enough. That was good.
Okay. Mm. Okay.
Okay,
All
Maureen.
right, Tommy. Take care.
Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
Okay. Bye, Tommy.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Maureen Teefy. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Maureen. I just can't tell you how thrilled and honored I was to interview you, and I genuinely mean that. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being awesome, and I hope to meet you someday. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.